I'm James McKinney, the creator and host of the Startup Story podcast. Each week, I sit with a successful founder to hear their entrepreneurial journey that led them to build the incredible organizations that they have. With close to 100 episodes, we have featured founders such as Ben Chestnut, co-founder of MailChimp, Randy Zuckerberg of Zuckerberg Media, and creator of Facebook Live. And of course, Julie Bornstein, co-founder of The Yes, and an absolute e-commerce guru for so many brands. Just recently, I had the chance to speak with Victoria Alonsoperez, founder of Chipsafer, as we unpacked her entrepreneurial journey for the Startup Story podcast. Chipsafer is a platform that can track and detect anomalies in livestock behavior at any time and in any place. Her goal with this technology is to isolate any issues and to help eliminate catastrophic loss due to illness or disease. I want to encourage everyone to listen to her full episode because her story exemplifies focus and determination. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail here because you can hear everything in her full episode of the Startup Story, which we will include a link in the description below this video. But as a young girl in Uruguay, she became fascinated with space and was determined to be in the aerospace industry. The problem is that in her country, there was no aerospace industry. And because there was no aerospace industry, there was no easy path to get to where she wanted to. Yet, that didn't stop her. No, in fact, along her journey, she was afforded the opportunity to travel the world for various aerospace symposiums and international events because of how hard she pushed towards her dream of being in the aerospace industry. I did not bring her onto the Startup Story because of her aerospace career or the many accolades. No, I brought her on because she is now building a startup. But here's the amazing part of her entrepreneurial journey. Nowhere along her journey did she have any aspirations of building her own business. Her entrepreneurial journey began when she entered a contest to pitch a technical solution to solve a complex problem. What she didn't realize was that the prize for that contest was funding to build a business to bring that solution to market. Well, that solution is now known as Chipsafer. Again, I hope you will click below and listen to her complete episode. But in this segment, I wanted to give you a sense of just how unique her mental makeup is when it comes to adversity, as well as the singular most important attribute that has contributed to the success she is seeing now as she's building her business. Here's a hint. It has something to do with community and mentorship. Now, with over 65,000 listeners all over the US, Australia, and the UK, I know the topics we unpack in this segment will resonate with so many people, so I hope you find this video helpful. And make sure to watch to the very end of the video as I have a special offer to have your business highlighted in an upcoming episode of the Startup Story. Now that you actually have a product where customers can contact you for order, you probably are breathing a little easier because now you've gone through quite a journey to get to where you are today. But I have to still ask, even though you're breathing easier, is there still any bit that brings you anxiety as to where's the next hole going to be that I'm going to step in?
So right now we're asking for investments for the first time.
Yeah.
And so it's complicated. You have like a ton of meetings, and I'm more of a technical person. So yes, I think that is not where our efforts are into that. And the reason is we want to grow and we want to grow fast. So yes, we're talking to different investors from different parts in the world. And I think that is it. But I don't think that we are ever going to be able to breathe well, in being an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And like things completely out of so we were going to do this big event in February, and we had to cancel it because of the COVID situation. So I mean, come on. When I finally feel like in January, I remember feeling like, okay, this is so good. Finally, a good year. Finally we are getting our break. The event is happening. We are doing so well, and then COVID happens, and you're like, okay, come on, seriously.
I mean, when in the world of entrepreneurship, we already have so many things stacked against us, and then a virus comes and just complicates things even more. And it's like we can plan for a lot, but it's amazing how many things are going to be thrown at us that we just had no idea about, right? And obviously, you're going to be stronger because of it. Now, having gone through this, any business that can survive through 2020 is going to be stronger because of it. But there's still going to be something that's going to come across our path that's going to knock our legs out from under us, and we're going to have to learn from it. And it's just time and time again. So I want to ask you this question. Was there ever a moment in the 8 years of growing Chipsafer, from the time you submitted the award to today when we're recording this, is there ever a moment where you just thought to yourself, I don't think I'm the one that can do this?
Yes, definitely, like a million times.
Yeah.
Even though I have the goal, I mean, I never thought, I never said, I don't think I can do this. I always thought kind of the opposite. I was like, okay, my drive and having this very straight goal and stuff is very important, but I need help. So I thought about a lot of times, like, I need help.
Yeah.
So yeah, that definitely happens, and it happens a lot, and questioning and I think that's during these really hard times that I had with the manufacturers, I think that the one thing that was really important for me was having mentors. You have the mentors, and those are like people that have been through this. An advisor in my company is actually a mentor that started with me in Chipsafer since 2012. And many times when I was in the worst times, I would call him, and he was like really, really helpful. Another thing that helped me a lot was talking to other entrepreneurs. And when I say other entrepreneurs, like other entrepreneurs doing something similar to what I was doing. For example, I remember talking when all this thing was going on with China. I remember talking to some entrepreneurs from Argentina that were actually doing hardware. So they really understood the whole thing of doing hardware in Latin America and then trying to manufacture in China and everything. And they were like, yeah, that happened to us too. So it's fine. So I know that the only thing they said was kind of that, but it kind of made me feel a bit better in the sense of like, okay, I'm not the only dumb person in the world. So yes, and that happens, and the thing is, when you're an entrepreneur too, you have to be in so many things. Like, for example, I think I only put founder and CEO of Chipsafer recently, and that was just because of the talks with the investors.
Yeah.
I always had only founder, not CEO. And the reason was because I think that I'm doing so many other things that, it's like we're all having like tons of different roles.
Yeah.
So really like when you see a startup with really few employees and everybody is a vice president or a director or something, and you're like, of what?
Yes.
So that's why I was like, okay, I didn't think about titles much. Only now, because now we're kind of forced to say, okay, who does what and all that.
I love it. One of the things you said that I think is so critical, and if I were to look back on your journey, even as a child who had aerospace dreams, you always had people pouring into you, through mentorship and assistance, and even obviously your teachers, your professors at the university level. All the programs you've had the opportunity to meet and sit with people. Would you say that is probably the single greatest asset that has carried you this far, is just how willing and how humble you are to accept the help given to you?
Yes, I think that is something very important to do, and sometimes you see entrepreneurs when they just start that they have a bit of arrogance.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, this, but then that goes away pretty fast once you start getting your first failures, and seeing that everything is not as you see on the Facebook movie or something.
Yes.
I think that's once you start realizing that there's a lot of struggles and stuff, I think that's even with entrepreneurs that can be competitors, you generally can talk pretty well and everything, because that's how hard it is. And sometimes you're competing against like big companies that they have like huge resources and everything, and you're kind of like, you feel like you're alone sometimes.
One of the things that is great about mentorship is hearing from those who are farther down the road than you. And so when we think of the road that you've traveled and all the things you've done over the 8 years in growing Chipsafer, if you were speaking to Victoria from 8 years ago, what are some things that you would tell Victoria to do differently than you have over the last 8 years?
I don't know, because I think that I learned so much during all these years. Like every single experience even that Africa experience, which was really scary and I feel like when I think about something right now, I'm like, okay, that was really helped me grow a lot. So I don't know if I mean, now that we have this product and we are doing things well, maybe if I would have closed the company, then I would have said something. But I think that definitely this year has helped me grow a lot, helped grow a lot the product. We made changes into the product that if we didn't have that those bad periods, I don't think we could have done.
I hope you found this content helpful. And if you did, then please make sure to subscribe to the Startup Story podcast on your podcast platform of choice so you can hear Victoria's episode in its entirety. With close to 100 founder interviews to choose from, I am confident you will find one that will be helpful to your entrepreneurial journey. I mentioned earlier that I have a special offer for you, and it requires nothing from you except your time. In every episode of The Startup Story, I read a listener review from Apple Podcasts. If you visit The Startup Story show on Apple Podcasts and leave a written review, I will read it in an upcoming episode. And here's the best part. If you insert your URL, social media accounts, or company name, then that segment will be inserted into the Startup Story episode and live on for years to come. It's basically a free advertisement for your business or brand within the Startup Story. I hope you will subscribe to this show as well as follow us on all the many social media platforms. I say it in every episode because I believe it. Entrepreneurs support other entrepreneurs, and this is our way of supporting you.